Yeah, and then after this, everything will be recorded up except for Kill the Moon. I don't know how that's ever going to get done.
You're listening to a mostly harmless cutaway.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless? Oh, come. I think that's pretty good coverage for a disintegrated pile of rubble.
Hi, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
And this is Chris.
And welcome back. It is Mostly Harmless Cutaway, number 118.
In the right order.
In the right order. Yes. It's been a fun experience, Series 8, I will say. And I don't mean just the series, but Mostly Harmless Cutaway has been interesting in its own right. At least behind the scenes, anyway.
Oh, yeah. It's getting more and more. It's getting more and more interesting as we go.
It really is. But we're back, and we're finally into the finale. I actually didn't know or didn't realize until about a week and a half ago that there was going to only be 12 stories.
Oh, really?
Yes. I did not realize. So, back when I was watching In the Forest of the Night, I was a bit surprised when I saw that next time trailer, the finale begins, because I wrongly assumed that, it's going to be like a 3-part finale, is what I thought. And then I went to Wikipedia and realized, no, it's a 2-part finale. There's only 12 stories. Okay. All right. I'm cool with it. I know some people are outraged, but no, I didn't feel any outrage about that.
Yeah, outrage is strong. I'd love to have 13, but I'd rather have 12 really great instead of throwing In
a way, we have 13 though.
Well, yeah, I realized that too in retrospect.
In the sense of a normal episode is 45 minutes. Deep Breath had an extra about 30 minutes, and as has been announced, Death in Heaven is going to have about an extra 15 minutes. So that's an extra 45 minutes between the premiere and the finale. So it's the equivalent of 13.
I didn't even realize it that way.
You know what? Actually, season 7 of Classic Who, 4 stories. 4 stories.
25 episodes. But yeah,
25 episodes, right.
True. I was actually counting that we got a bonus episode last year, so I was kind of looking at it that way. Losing one this year, got one extra last year. But, if you add all Series 7 up together, yeah.
And the presence of Day of the Doctor is kind of a big factor why there are only 12 this year. Just because of something to do with international sales or something like that with how the BBC wants to package and sell the program for 13 episodes. 13 episodes plus a special.
It's all good. It's fine with me. It's all good. But here we are, finally, Dark Water. We finally know at least what that means.
Yes, we do.
We do.
And
what a red herring that is.
Yeah. I mean, does Dark Water only serve to exist just to create this reveal? Because I don't see that it has any other purpose.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
You say it has more purpose, or it's just that?
No, it's for the purpose of the reveal.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's just it, right? There's like nothing else. It's not used for anything else. Like, it's just, it just hides inorganic matter just so we can have this brilliant reveal.
Yeah.
Let me tear a Band-Aid off nice and early when it comes to Dark Water. Since we're talking about the Dark Water itself, the titular Dark Water, if you will, the eponymous Dark Water.
Wow.
When you watch the episode and you're looking inside the so-called fish tanks, at the skeletons sitting down in them, if you look at the bones of the skeleton, like the leg bones are directly atop the chair, rather than lifted up as though encased in anything really, let alone a Cyberman exoskeleton. It caught my eye.
Wow, I see what you're saying now. It's a bit bonkers, but
it's not like I see what you're saying, Chris. I didn't really think about that, but it's like, wouldn't if it was really hiding the Cyberman, it would almost like be floating above the chair, right?
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
There'd be some distance between the chair and the leg bone.
But okay, I mean, another thing about this whole reveal,
continuity error.
This whole, I mean, I assume, did everyone pick up on, I mean, pretty quickly that's probably what we were looking at when we just saw the bones
Cybermen?
floating? Yes.
I had an inkling, mostly because of all the publicity about the Cybermen's appearance, both recently and back in the summer when it was being filmed, and it was cemented when Dr. Chang
Dr. Chang!
put Dr. Chang. Apparently, Edward Russell, brand manager for Doctor Who, apparently put on Twitter that in the week leading up to this, or something, or maybe the week after his film, something like that, people were just running around the office, Doctor Who production offices, yelling out, "Dr. Chang!" every chance they could get, which it sounded a bit fun.
That's awesome.
But no, I mean, until Chang put his arm in the little tub of dark water, and you see his watch and part of his sleeve disappear, and that cemented it for me. But I had the hunch.
Yeah, I had the hunch. And you too, Josh, I assume?
Yes. Of
I
course.
mean,
we knew that the Cybermen were
and
in
you
there.
brought up the publicity stuff.
know?
Like, I am almost a little, I don't know, maybe not surprised, but how much that couldn't be less of a surprise. Because I know a lot of people comment on, some of this decoration on the wall would have been more interesting had I not known. But even that, I don't know. Either way, it just all seems super obvious.
Well,
The saving grace of it all is that the reveal of the Cybermen, well, a bit of a shock to the Doctor, of course, is not the big surprise we're supposed to care about.
Right, exactly. And this was all done on purpose so that, I mean, they announced the Cybermen really early. I mean, the set photos were out there and they were all official and all this other stuff. They did that on purpose as a redirect for us, right? With the Missy character.
In part, I mean, in part it's because they're filming in the middle of London in the daytime at a famous place like St. Paul's Cathedral. They can't hide the fact they're having Cybermen walking onto the street, so they have to publicize it and just kind of preempt the people who would have otherwise reported that information.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, it's
kind of
just
like
they used it as they were able to use it nicely as a redirect too.
Well, for sure, but it kind of reminded me of what they did with Meredith Vieira with the Cybermen in a couple of years ago.
That's right.
For blah blah blah. Wedding of River Song. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's the story.
That's Dark Water.
Quick.
Thank you.
Yes, that was quick. That was nice and fast.
Yeah.
Just because it hasn't been explicitly said, holy shit, loved this. Loved this to bits.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go. I mean, as an aside, all of a sudden, this is 11 MHCs into Series 8, and I believe that's the first time someone's cussed in these episodes, these MHCs of Series 8.
Oh, I could cuss some more, just like the fucking psychic paper.
What about the psychic paper?
The psychic paper, when he shows it to Chang, he says, "Why are there so many?"
Oh, right. He did.
Right.
I thought you were pissed about the psychic paper.
A little Malcolm Tucker action there.
Absolutely.
And
Great.
I mean, I just Michelle Gomez as her character, and I just want to see a lot more of her. She is so fantastic, and I was sort of in my mind kind of comparing her to the Sim version of the Master, and how absolutely crazy he was. But at the same time, it's like there's just something about her that seems closer to the Master that I remember. And go ahead.
No. Say that.
No. I mean, I really like her portrayal. I've only seen these little snippets and pieces and parts, and yet her portrayal just seems much closer to the Master that I remember.
Yeah. I much like you, Josh. Well, I guess technically speaking, you sort of grew up because you had seasons 12 through 15 on a loop. Is that right?
Yeah.
For WGBH.
Yeah.
So your Master was essentially the Peter Pratt Master.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my Master was I grew up with the Ainley Master, but man, I most identified with the Delgado Master. But there's a great similarity between Gomez and her Missy master, whatever, and Delgado's master, in the sense that there's this air about them. There's this charm, the way they dress and carry themselves. It's very, very evocative of Delgado, in a certain way, anyway.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that even though 12 through 15 was how I got into the show. I mean, I love the Pertwee era, and I think Delgado is by far and will always be the master to me.
Absolutely.
And I just I don't know, the John Sim the Sim version of the master just seemed like it was a little more crazy than, and I know that they were setting it up so that he was crazy because of the Fornox or whatever it is, not the Fornox, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Well, End of Time, yeah.
The End of Time nonsense. So, but like, the Delgado master was he was charming. Like he was, he wasn't
suave.
Yeah, he wasn't like obviously evil. Like all this stuff in the background was, and unless he got really, really angry, it was always, really linear and much more agreeable. And he did evil things kind of under the covers, and you didn't realize he was doing it, or at least people around him didn't realize he was doing it. And Missy's master, Michelle Gomez's master, it seems like it's a lot closer to that, and I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's a bit of continuity with the character as well, in the sense of, we've seen the series arc with the Nethersphere, the Promised Land, whatever you want to call it, heaven. Little snippets here and there, and the supposition that Missy was the one who gave Clara the doctor's phone number in the first place for the Bills of St. John. And the point being, the Delgado master loved playing this long game.
Yes.
And Missy is doing the exact same thing. Like, even you look at the worst of the worst, the Time Monster, and the master is still playing this long game of Thascales and his research and getting ingrained in that's more than Alien's master tended to do. I mean, yes, Alien's master did some like survival. There's a bit of that, and the inexplicable appearances, Khalid and Time Flight, and so it's not like the Delgado master exists in a vacuum when it comes to the long game. But it just really, the revelation of Missy as the master, or Missy, whatever, interchangeable terms now, obviously. It just really, really, really made me think of the Delgado master so much.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? Actually, now that you mention that, like, the whole thing around colony in space and the Doomsday Weapon, right?
Sure.
I mean, coming in just
frontier in space or whatever.
Right, exactly. It's all this big plan that he has. That the Doctor comes in really late to this plan, right? And that's the way he tries to defeat the Doctor, is to get out ahead of him, and the Doctor seems to somehow catch up. But you're right. I mean, that's how it was done. So a more classic Who type approach versus what it was for the End of Time, etc., and for Last of the Time Lords, all that other stuff. I
mean, again, long game. It's not like the Sim Master didn't play the long game with 18 months of infiltration of the government, as it were, before he was elected Prime Minister. So it still happened, but it made me think of Delgado far more than it did make me think of Sim. Yeah,
agreed. So that's huge. That that Moffat brings back the Master after 5 years. Has it been 5 years?
Just about, yeah.
Well, I will say I didn't realize she was going to be the Master till she literally explained it on screen. I was still unsure all the way till the end. But on second rewatch, I'll just mention, I didn't notice it the first time through, but on second, we haven't talked about score too much this series, partially because there hasn't been too much that stuck out that just that only appears in Series 8. But aside from the obvious Cyberman cue in this story, musically, I noticed it on rewatch that midway through the episode, during one of the Missy scenes in the mausoleum or in the cathedral, you do get the background music of like the Master from Utopia. I didn't realize that first time through, but it's played right, right under her scene, and it's there it is, Utopia music, like right there.
That
music.
I didn't notice that. I'll have to check that out again.
Yes, I noticed it after the fact.
Music doesn't register for me, but did you notice that quite possibly in the same scene? The one that I'm thinking of is just before they rush outside, and Missy is talking about how she's the one that the Doctor left for dead. There's knocking.
Didn't notice that.
There's a drum beat, a la the Four Knocks. It's two strikes of the drum to represent the heartbeat, but there's still this drumming.
I was speaking of the bit. I think just before Dr. Chang takes them away. I think like the last time the camera hangs on Missy, you kind of get the music in the background that's reminiscent of Utopia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Dr. Chang.
But there's still lots of other things we've skipped over since we went straight to the heart of the matter. But
for sure.
Well,
if we want to talk about,
there's a lot of things.
If we want to talk about the thick of it, for example, we saw a brief bit of Chris Addison in The Caretaker, but now we have like full on Chris Addison.
And this is Seb, right? And
this is Seb,
which I only learned yesterday is short for Sebastian. I had no idea all this time. I never knew that.
You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I've heard the name Seb a lot, usually connected to Doctor Who people and whatnot, but people who I don't know here in Texas, because I don't know anyone named Sebastian in Texas. But I know. I literally just learned this yesterday. I had no idea that Seb was short for that. So news to me. At least it makes
all right.
sense.
So can we take a step back to the earliest piece, which is Danny Pink actually getting killed right in front of our very eyes.
Yeah. Not quite, but yeah.
Oh, we don't see him getting hit by the car. Yes. It's really funny.
Metaphorical, right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Right in front of we're from the Clara POV on that. But I mean, was it shocking to you guys? I know that something like this had to happen for us to get here.
Yeah.
But just the way they went about it, was it shocking?
No.
Like
you point out, Josh, there has to be a reason for the Doctor and Clara to get to where Missy is, and basically you have one of three choices. You have doing this to Danny, the Doctor, or Clara, and Danny just makes the most sense. But over and above everything else, I read a spoiler about Danny dying before I saw the episode, so it was definitely not a shock when I actually saw it.
Okay. All right,
it wasn't super obvious in that I knew this was for sure going to happen in the story, that he was going to die. It was just watching the scene play out, and I know the way it was edited, the way it was cut, and as soon as he steps on the street and we cut away, like I already, he's going to get hit by a car. And so I was just waiting for the sound effect of the car hit, which of course we don't get. But I knew, okay. Because also in the moment, watching it the first time, and it happens more in the episode, but I hate this thing when it's usually under Moffat. Could the character just say what they need to say, please? All this, shut up, no, you shut up.
Yeah. Shut up.
Stop. Oh, that was infuriating to me.
The diorama of Post-it notes that she's going to show him.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah.
Which I had to freeze frame, by the way, and look over. I noticed on her shelf, next to one of her Post-it notes, on Clara's bookshelf, there's a book on menopause for some reason that you get to see pretty clearly. Yeah, look at the spines of the books.
Well, her grandmother was in the flat, so maybe it's.
Oh, maybe it may. There's a light blue menopause book right there. I don't know why.
Yeah, actually,
the rest were travel books, but mostly.
Actually, if you look really closely, you can see a little War Doctor dolly in there on the shelf. If you look really closely.
Yeah, makes sense.
Josh, in the vein of the memory cheats, are you going to bring up Sheila Reed?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that she was back, and we had seen her. We'd seen her previously in what was it? The Bells of St. John? Is that
Time of
when
the
we
Doctor.
saw?
Time
Oh,
of
it
the
was
Doctor.
time. It was Time of the Doctor.
Yeah,
See,
it was.
I thought we'd seen her again somewhere along the line, but you're right. Oh, see, the memory will definitely cheat on New Who. I just have not watched it enough. But yeah, Sheila Reed, Vengeance on Varos, played Etta.
Yeah,
There
but,
you go. Write
but-
it down.
Anyway, annoying that he had. It doesn't really matter, but he was killed because she had to be annoying with all her shut up. And I'm annoyed later by Seb because he's doing this whole like. There's a lot of
Get the
characters
good-
doing this whole. Isn't it so obvious? Isn't it so obvious? But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to keep dragging it out.
Eric, get the good coffee, okay? We don't want, Jeez, how long did we spend on the coffee thing? By the way, how many times did Danny Pink say, "Where am I"? I think it was like 6 times. No lie, I think it was 6 times.
I'm watching the episode back as we record this, and I'm just a little bit past that bit, and I wish I were further back so I could count as it goes, but I didn't notice the number.
Yeah, the next time you watch it, just try to figure out how many times he says that, because I swear to God, he must have said it at least 6 times. And then, I mean, I'm not picking on the story when I say this. It seems like a lot of those explanations around Danny, and then the whole thing about him being a soldier and the kid and all that. I really hope that all that comes to fruition with something.
And
It will.
I can bring up more others. I mean, about painfully drawn out reveals or marking time in the story. The other bit that really grinded at me was the Doctor tells Claire, keep talking to him, try to figure out if it's really him. You know how long that conversation goes on in the story?
I know.
The reason it goes on as long as it does is because Danny won't acquiesce and do what Clara is asking him to do.
I know, it's ridiculous. Just tell me something. Well, I love you. But he can't say anything. Doesn't remember the restaurant. It was infuriating. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
That's because he doesn't want to say it.
Oh God, he doesn't want to prove that he's really. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
He doesn't want Clara coming after him, etc.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But as far as the kid is concerned, that Josh brought up, I mean, two big things about that. One is early on in our introduction to Danny, he's at the head of the classroom crying about something when he's asked if he's ever killed somebody. So we find out what the reason behind that is. He's killed this kid in this house, and then at the end of the literal end of the episode, Danny is sitting there with that iPad in his hand, trying to make the decision of whether or not he wants to delete all his emotions. And we see the reflection of the kid behind him, the reflections in the iPad, and boom, end credits. Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that reflection on my first viewing.
I'm thinking the resolution of that is going to be the kid saying something along the line of "I forgive you" or "It's okay" or whatever to reassure Danny so he doesn't hit the delete button and erase his emotions as the catalyst to becoming a Cyberman himself. That's my guess. I don't know.
One would think. I mean, it sounds very plausible. Otherwise, why would they be showing that kid there?
But the thing is, they don't really need... I mean, okay. So the whole thing about deleting emotions, that's the precursor for them to be a Cyberman.
Right.
You don't really need that. You don't really need to have them delete that. They could... they've made Cybermen before without deleting people's emotions.
It's a new twist. It's not good. It's not bad. I mean, think back to Into the Dalek, for example, when even Phil Ford is talking about how exciting it seems that there's yet this new fresh angle to the Daleks after all these years. And the same thing here. It's kind of a new fresh angle to the creation of at least this batch of Cybermen.
You know what's really funny? You know what's really funny about that is that it seems like every single time the Cybermen appear in the series, and I go back all the way back to the classic series, there's always a new twist about the Cybermen. Either they look different, or they've been created differently, or they're coming out from something different. It's just it's so wacky how much the Cybermen have changed over time, very quickly changed over time. and it's continued in New Who. It's continued in New Who, big time.
And even more rapidly in Nightmare in Silver, shall we say?
Oh, I know. I mean, completely space wacky.
Oh, Nightmare in Silver.
They're very fast. Yes.
Yes, it's weird to find things that I was annoyed by in the story because actually, I know I saw some of your tweets, John. I was completely engaged from start to finish.
Oh, that was the thing, like the atmosphere. Okay, so I really like it when Doctor Who like takes me there and gets me worked up about the atmosphere around. And it just always felt like there was going to be a shoe dropping somewhere, and it just continues to go at you throughout the story, and you're always waiting for the shoe.
Lots of tension. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's when Doctor Who's really good is when it keeps you engaged because everything is so tense, and you just don't know what's going to happen next. And that's why I mean, just thinking about this really quickly, them coming out, Missy coming out with the Cybermen coming out of St. Paul's Cathedral. I mean, is that where the Nethersphere is? Is it in St. Paul's Cathedral?
Well, that's what I thought was.
It's inside the literal, like, it's inside the literal sphere, that the Matrix slice that was floating in the air within St. Paul's.
Yes,
that's the Nethersphere.
Okay.
But one thing I was wondering though about that, like when they reveal it and she says, look, there it is, and I was wondering, was that thing just sitting there the whole time?
Yeah.
But okay, just never mind the big floating sphere.
Yeah, no, it was because again, I'm just rewatching the episode here, and I've just passed that scene where Dr. Chang walks away with Clara and the Doctor, and you cut back to Missy, and she looks up, and there's the sphere.
It's
yes, it was there.
But yeah, so yeah,
good stuff.
No, it is good stuff. It is good stuff.
Really good. Really good.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, we're looking good right now. This is no Way in the River song.
Yeah.
No, I agreed. I think we are looking good. And you have Capaldi coming out. Everybody get out, get away. And like people like just standing there.
Another crazy Scott. I didn't know there was a match on.
Yeah, but see, that was the little clip, the teaser clip they had released prior to this story going out.
Yeah.
And I watched it how many times? Just because I kept thinking I was going to see a new clip, but it was the same one over and over. But anyway, as I saw that teaser clip, I didn't even think they were really on Earth. I thought maybe this was just a place that looks like Earth, or I thought, oh, this is an alternate reality where for some reason people are okay with Cybermen and don't really care. So I guess you could say that was a mild surprise to me, that it actually was really supposed to be contemporary London. When they
and that clip stopped right before the reveal.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And I read on somewhere on the internet that they said that when they filmed that scene, the reveal scene, that both Gomez and Capaldi they lip synced their lines without they recorded the audio later and inserted just because of all the spectators and onlookers, so that they could at least keep that bit secret.
Wow.
Yeah. So la ha dee da. I don't know.
Where were the lip readers to help us out on that one?
Well, yeah, apparently not there at filming. But I don't know. Is it satisfying so far? I guess. I mean, the explanation of the Nethersphere.
Sure.
We need more. I mean, I think we need more. But you know what? So far, so good. So far, so very good.
That's the beauty of it being part one, Josh. We're gonna get more.
I know, and I know that. I just
also, may I say how unnecessarily gleeful I am that the inside of the Nethersphere is literally a sphere. It's like an inverse Coruscant.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you on the inside. Yeah, okay. I was like, Coruscant, Star Wars, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, it is that. It is that. Yeah.
I want to see the Steve Jobs Cyberman.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
wow. There's the volcano bit. Some people... Okay, that's another thing I'll bring up. I might as well. At least what I saw in my timeline, it was overwhelmingly negative what I saw as I was watching the episode and just after it finished airing.
Really?
In the UK. Yeah, this is by... on my timeline during the UK airing and after the UK airing. Yes, I don't know who I follow, but it was overwhelmingly negative, everything that I saw.
Wow.
About the story, about the reveal, about, there's no real story. It's just, surprises and...
No real story. It was last week.
Yeah. It was overwhelmingly negative. More than I've seen than with any episode this series, at least on my timeline, my Twitter timeline. So I don't know. There was lots of disappointment I saw.
There were quite a number of hours between the time it went out in the UK and the time I actually had the chance to sit down and watch it last night. And I guess maybe I didn't see any of that because I was staying away from Twitter for obvious reasons, but I didn't see that at all. And when I finally did, start refollowing Twitter or even catch up a little bit with what had come before, it was all very, very positive.
I saw people criticize almost everything you could possibly criticize, but because that's what reminded me of it right now. Because like with the volcano scene, a lot of people say, "Oh, why would Claire even do this?" Create this ultimatum for the Doctor.
She's desperate.
I understand, but I'm just saying this is what people were saying. People, not me. Oh, doesn't she know time can't be rewritten and blah 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 blah.
All right.
Doesn't she know that? Doesn't she know that if she throws all 7 keys into the lava, the Doctor can snap his fingers and open the damn door?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I thought that's maybe what he would have done, but you know what? I think that as a result of Clara's ability to manage situations over this season, okay, and how she has very little fear. I think, that all that is sort of explained that she's got the balls to do something like that, and it's because she's able to manage just about any situation. So I bought in.
I think in part it goes back to Deep Breath when the Doctor calls her a control freak as well.
Ooh.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah. No, but I mean, I love the fact that the Doctor played it out with her, and at the end of the day, while Clara is trying to manipulate the Doctor, at the end of the day, he is the master manipulator, and he's been like that all season long.
Which is great, and I mean, even in the context of the volcano scene, when the Doctor reveals that, did you really think this was going to work on me? That's kind of like a punch the air moment. Like, yeah, that's the Doctor we know and love.
That's right.
He needs to be that type of a character where he's got a handle on things. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't fear anything there. I mean, what are they going to do? Stop the show?
Sure. They may as well have had children in the lava scene just to make sure that everyone got out okay.
No, but I mean, I like that. I mean, I thought that was really human of her to, be so crazy after her boyfriend that she just told, that she loves him, and it did not surprise me. It really fit in with the character for me.
Yeah, no, totally. And, yeah, I was going to say something that slipped my mind.
I mean, yeah, I was fine with it. It just, oh my gosh, people criticized everything. Oh, now we don't get to see a regeneration of Sim.
Oh, please.
Oh, boo-hoo.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just making the Master female. This is a test run for a female Doctor. I saw some of those people who
We saw 3 different versions of the Master in the bloody TV movie. Did we need that? No.
Oh,
sorry, four versions of the Master in the TV movie.
I don't know.
You're including the Gordon Tipple version.
I'm including Gordon Tipple. the Snot Master, the Snake, and Eric Roberts.
Yes.
But I don't know. I saw a lot of people proclaiming they're done with Doctor Who. Series 8, worst new Who series. Like, just tons of stuff.
Who do you follow, man?
But I don't know. The same people I always have, I think. A lot of it's retweets by people who I follow, but it was just overwhelming. I had never seen this much. I mean, not just this year, any year. At least on my Twitter, this was beyond the pale. I saw like the odd positive comment here and there on my timeline, but it was overwhelmingly negativity.
I don't know if I'm going to sound like a terrible person for saying this, but not unlike the backlash over certain elements of fandom who didn't want an older Doctor because they want the young and cute and hot one. You know, as far as people saying good riddance to that element of fandom if they're actually going to stop watching the show because the Doctor got older. Good riddance to these people who, you know, if you say you're no longer enjoying Doctor Who, then yes, you should stop watching.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Chris. We've seen this from the very beginning, and I was actually pissed off when Moffat was essentially doing two things. He was lecturing us about, you know, an older Doctor at the beginning of Deep Breath, and also apologizing for it. And I don't think that's necessary at all. And sort
of placating people as well by having the bit with Matt Smith making the phone call.
That annoyed me more than anything else. That a lot of people love that, but that just annoyed me. It's like, we've moved on. Why don't you just let us move on? In any case, I agree. If you don't see that this is good Doctor Who, then you really weren't a fan, because you really just don't know it. You don't understand what it's all about.
Well, you stopped, I mean, it's nothing to do with being a fan, not being a fan. It's all to do with stopping. You know, you're no longer enjoying the show, and if you're no longer enjoying something that you're used to doing or watching, you should just stop for your own sanity and stress levels. Just stop.
But
don't keep
but
watching
the other thing
this.
is, like,
why keep watching this? Why keep bitching on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, whatever about, oh, I hate this, I hate that. Just stop watching.
The thing is, like, if you're a fan of David Tennant, that's fine. If you're a fan of Matt Smith, that's fine. But the show isn't David Tennant and Matt Smith. It's not. It's much bigger than that.
But also remarkable, too, some of the people who are naysayers were also people who were fans pre-2005 as well, which it was newer fans and quote-unquote classic fans as well, some too.
There are classic Doctor Who fans out there who refuse to watch New Who, period. Not just, I'm only going to watch Series 1 or watch to the end of Tennant. They just don't watch New Who, period. And that's equally as sad as people who come to the show with New who stop enjoying it because of an actor change or who's lead writer or whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know. If you're enjoying it, you'll watch it. If you're not enjoying it, stop. How many like, think back to your own personal lives. Like, how many times have you been watching random TV show X or random movie X and you're like, not really enjoying this. Stop.
Yeah, I've done that several times. I've done that
countless times in this, you know, or I'm not enjoying how the Patriots are playing this Sunday. flip the channel, whatever. Or in your case, the Cowboys are, Eric. But whatever.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
well, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'll watch it through all the thick and thin. Not a lot of thin these days, but there you go.
It's just interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I almost wanted to engage in things, but no, I didn't engage in anything. I'm talking about on Twitter and elsewhere. Just remarkable.
It's probably best.
Yeah.
Not to engage. People get really unreasonable about things, and it's like, the show's going to change. The one thing that you're sure about is the show's going to change, and that's what makes it great. That's what makes it great.
Just like people who are complaining about Missy being the Master or the whole gender swap of the Master, it's like, so you can sit there and watch a show that involves a blue box that's bigger on the inside than the outside, involving a main character. Yeah, it travels through time, involving a main character who can change his appearance essentially at will, but only really does it in the time of desperate need. But you can't accept that they can go from male to female.
Yeah, it's
then no.
Should be able to. That's the funny thing about it is that it has to be within whatever black lines that the individual creates for themselves, and the fans who don't allow those black lines are the ones who enjoy the series the most.
It's a fiction series in the first place. If you're not watching this with
wait. It's not a documentary?
It's not a documentary. But if you're not watching this thing in general with a modicum of imagination, why are you watching it? Chris Bidby notwithstanding.
Wow.
Well, they're definitely still going down with the ship, because a lot of these people I've seen have been saying such things since at least a year or two ago of Doctor Who, and they're obviously still watching, so it is interesting. It's a lot of the same people. Speaking
of going down with this ship, the Doctor and the Master are kissing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really affect me any which way.
I was trying to troll a little bit on Twitter last night after seeing this about the Doctor and the Master kissing, like the what's going to happen to the Slash now that we actually have a canonical kiss, and talking about how the Doctor and the Master kissing, and what if you thought of it in the Barry Letts context, where the Doctor and the Master were meant to be revealed as the same character, or the JNT context where the Doctor and the Master were meant to be revealed as brothers. Like, think about kissing back then, as the Slash writers have done ad nauseum, and
they are going crazy, Chris. Right now,
I'm sure they are, but you can kind of mess with your mind, along with other people's too.
Well, I mean, I might argue that the kiss and the hand to the hearts or whatever it was the Master's way of kind of revealing who she is.
Yes. No, absolutely yes. And in a way, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Just in the sense of, you think back to, just even a few years ago, Tennant's Doctor, who knew that the Master was around, because he could feel, like, once the fob watch was open, he could feel that there was another Time Lord presence. And why didn't he have that feeling here?
Well, maybe he did, but either A, he was ignoring it, or B, he really started to feel it when Missy... If you look at the way the Doctor approached Missy at the very beginning, you could tell that he was either confused by the situation or just something wasn't right. By the look on his face. I'm not trying to explain what you're saying.
I've seen many people say the same thing, though. That he kind of knew but didn't want to go. And I'll say, Chris, too, because I was always halfway with your... I don't know how serious the theory was or not, but up until the final moment, I was still half expecting him to say Romana, or she, or he, or her, or whatever.
Well,
I knew it wasn't going to be Romana, man. No way.
I didn't think it really was going to be Romana, but I was still...
Weeks and weeks ago, I think it was after Into the Dalek. It was either Into the Dalek or maybe even Back to Deep Breath. I had made a joke about, she's called Missy, short for mistress, therefore she's Romana, because that's what K9 calls her. So I made a joke about it, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, it might be kind of cool and neat if it were Romana as the big reveal of Missy. But at the end of the day, who else could it be? Because if you look at other, if you look at other Time Lords, not just, people obviously were focusing on, if it's not the Master, it's the Rani, because that's the big female Time Lord. But
I was thinking the Valyard actually at one point. I was thinking maybe Valyard.
Pick your name. There's any number of possibilities that you could explain away as it being. So the Valyard, or Barusa, or Susan, or Jenny, or the Rani, or the Master, or whatever. There's an explanation to be made for any of them. But at the end of the day, when you look at what New Who has done and the characters that's brought back, Rassilon, it ain't going to be him.
Rassilon's spit.
the Doctor's mother in the background at the end of time, or who people are saying was his mother. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's only ever going to be the Master, because the Master in New Who is this established character who has been in multiple episodes, and it's a character that the fandom knows. You're not necessarily going to pull out Drax from the cracks of your ass to say this is now Missy is the new embodiment of Drax. Ain't
Yeah,
gonna
but that'd be cool. That would be cool though. Long way from Gallifrey.
Oh, but hey, once again, I felt none of this. Once again, it's an episode that I liked pretty thoroughly. Things are looking well. Wow, it's difficult. It's difficult to criticize this excellent Who.
Yeah, I agree.
It is difficult to criticize. Sorry, we all agree again.
Yeah, I guess we do. Yeah, I think we're 10 of 11 on agreeing on Series 8 on this podcast.
It's just good. I mean,
it was great.
It's just good. So you can't really argue good.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else pressing we need to mention before we close out? Dark Water.
Probably not. Two little things I want to throw out there, just because I seem to always do this. But number one, huge shout out to Rachel Talalay, whose direction in this was magnificent. There's some really, really cool things, not the least of which were the scene on the road. Clara runs up to the scene of the accident. We have the spin of the camera, and it changes from the scene of the accident to later on.
Yes.
And the aftermath, and that just looks so beautiful. When the Doctor and Clara are talking after the betrayal conversation, she's using some really cool close-ups of the Doctor, and even this one shot from like beneath him looking up that looked amazing. And then, of course, much like the accident scene, the spinning of Clara in her chair as she realizes there's this Cyberman behind her.
Yeah.
And she looks at it, just so gorgeous with these camera moves.
Yeah, again, the direction is not letting us down this season, and holding to a very high standard going forward. Very, very high standard.
Yeah.
And tremendous.
What was the second thing?
Well, the second thing was sort of let's call it 2.5 then. I like working with concepts, and the notion of dead bodies still being conscious, like the mind still being conscious after the body dies, is kind of a really weird and intriguing thing to think about. And and this whole W3, the 3 words, or 3W rather, the 3 words that a lot of people say, don't cremate me, because their mind is still alive even though their body isn't. That's a chilling and interesting thought. But one thing I wanted to kind of throw out there to you guys was, so the founder of...
I just noticed that.
Of 3W, yes. The founder of 3W, and again, this is, I don't know, it might be a red herring.
I just noticed that right now.
There we go. We got Scarosa. Scaro with S-A at the end. What's that going to bring us, guys?
I don't, because see, as you were speaking on my screen is where I saw the first time I noticed the name placard for the Doctor, because I heard his name mentioned and I was wondering what's up with that, because they don't ever refer to it ever again. And then I saw it spelled out, and when I saw it spelled out, that's when the finger snapped in my brain. What is up with that name?
Yeah, why bring it up? Why bring it up unless it has some meaning?
And what kind of ridiculous name is that anyway?
It might not mean anything. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get another Doomsday where we have Cybermen and Daleks together, or if it's going to be like one of the other name plaques we saw was Xylo Jones. And apparently parts of fandom are thinking it's actually referring to Yanto Jones.
Okay, that's getting a bit ridiculous.
Ain't that way.
But come on, if someone was Dr. Androzanian or Gallifrey, or come on.
Well, I mean,
What?
last week you referred to Doctor Widow, the Widow in the Wardrobe, and hey, we had an Androzani reference in there. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there's always a little, reference or whatever that they'll come up with.
but Scar Rosa, I mean,
I don't know when they brought up the Pentalion drive at some point, but they did, and that's from Revenge of the Cybermen. But it's like, sometimes they'll come up with these things, but for this, I mean, they made it a point to mention it, and
it's a bit much.
it was a throwaway line, and with Moffat, there's no such thing as a throwaway line.
And it didn't click with me until I literally just saw it written out, because when it was just spoken, it didn't really register with me. But because I was thinking Scaramanga when I heard Scarosa. But
It's actually Scattermanga.
yeah, Scattermanga. I like to scattermanga all along the floor. But
Oh, that sounds
But-
kind of nasty. Yeah, go ahead.
but seeing it written out, spelled out. Oh, come on. What is? Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is. Oh,
We shall
I don't,
see.
I don't even want to say the D word. I don't even know. I don't know.
Doctor?
No,
Okay.
not that. No, I don't know.
I know.
Something.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
are you saying Dalek or Davros?
Davros, not
Davros,
Dalek.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be just Dalek. It could be just Dalek.
It could, but whatever it is, maybe it's a Khalid. I don't even know. It's
It's a what?
Khalid.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mind you, if you rejigger the spelling slightly and throw an N at the end, you got Scarison, so maybe it's something to do with the Zygons.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, I'm sure it's an anagram for something else.
From Master's joke. Yeah.
I doubt it.
But anyway, well, there you go. Anything else on Dark Water?
Nope.
I know some people. Well, I mean, again, you're always allowed to change your feelings later, but I know a lot of people don't like to judge two-parters by one part alone. But I'm perfectly fine with it, especially with this story. Josh, do we have a unit of measure?
Yeah, I guess water tombs, man.
Water tombs. Yeah, it's very Walking Dead, if anyone's seen Walking Dead Series 3. But,
Nope.
yeah, water tombey like that. But, water tombs. Chris, how many water tombs do you want to give this out of 5?
5.
Wow. Well, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. No, this is up there with Listen, at or near the top of the best of the season.
Wow.
Series, rather.
I am not there yet. I mean, with you. I mean, yeah, that's the only other 5 I've given, or the only 5 I've given out in Series 8 so far. Water tombs.
I wasn't on MHC for either Mummy or Flatline, but I would happily give each of those a 5 as well for whatever that's worth. Like we're seeing some really high caliber stuff this series, no question.
Yeah, agreed.
I want to give it 4 water tombs out of 5. Very pleasant. I really don't have any real issues. The only real issues I have were the quibbles I mentioned of just at least 3 occasions just in this story where a character is not revealing things. But
But again, it's part 1 of a 2-part story.
No, but I mean, no, not having to reveal everything. But I mean, just with their Clara did it, Seb did it, Mistress did it. Just like this. Don't you get it? Don't you understand it? But I'm just going to keep, pestering you for another 5 minutes until I let you in on the secret. But that's
well, even Seb says people understand what's going on. They just can't get traction on the idea.
yeah. But again, those are quibbles because it didn't ruin anything for me. It was good. It was great. I liked it. 4 out of 5. Bring on the next.
Joshua?
Yeah, I would say 4.5, but I want the ability to maybe change that to a 5 or a 4 based on what we're going to see next week, because I really kind of count this all as one big story, and so far 4.5 on the way to 5.
Yeah, and while we don't get any actual next time trailer at the end of this,
we had that last week though.
Exactly, the next time trailer from last week, I guess, was kind of split between this one and the next.
Yeah,
so we already know a lot, or has gleamed things.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of stuff that was shown in there that we didn't see. I mean, usually we're going to see the trailer for the next episode, not the next 2 episodes combined. So we did like Capaldi falling through the air, and the appearance of Osgood. I'm trying to remember her name.
That's her name. Yeah, I wanted to call her Osmond, but I knew that was wrong.
Yeah, Osgood and Kate Stewart and the unit and so on. We see that stuff in the trailer we didn't see here, so we know some of what's coming up.
Yes, and what I previously thought, I thought it was St. Paul's Cathedral opening up and missiles shooting out. I now realize those are Cybermen shooting out upon rewatch. But okay, all right. But yes, I definitely though like when we go back to the original Cybermen 2-parter in the new series, Age of Steel and all that jazz, or what was it, Doomsday and all that. With those, I would just really, after the cliffhanger of the preceding episode, I am wondering, how is this all going to get put right? How is this going to get fixed? All these cyber people, because they do mention how it's worldwide, that these tombs have been set up throughout the world. Mm-hmm. So, how is this going to get fixed? It's not going to be some...
Well, if nothing else...
Infinity arc or anything.
Reset button.
Quite possibly. I mean, if nothing else, if you look at any Moffat 2-parter out there, Part 2 and Part 1 are never the same story.
Right, true that. I was almost wondering, though, if Pete was running around the Nethersphere. Because that's another bit that's a bit confusing.
No, because Pete's stuck in alternate universe with Handy and Rose and them. And little, whatever they called the baby. What the hell did they call
No, wait. That's the alternate Pete, though, isn't it? Because real Pete Prime was killed. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I was wondering if Pete Prime was in the Nethersphere. That's another bit that's confusing when I think about it now, about what we've seen about Missy. Like, I know they talk about it's worldwide, but remember, I mean, she's been plucking people from, not just from Earth, not just from contemporary times, from around the universe. Like, how does that factor in, or does that even factor in? You know what I'm saying? Are there cyber corpses not just Earth-wide, but it's time-wide and universe-wide? Is that even going to be addressed?
We don't see that, do we?
No, I don't even think it's mentioned that way. I think it says
but like the person,
it's all Earth. It's Earth only.
Okay, maybe. But I mean, I was thinking about the soldier or whatever in Into the Dalek being killed, and then showing up there, and then thinking about, it's weird thinking about the mechanical clockwork creature from, what's even the point of that thing ending up in the Nethersphere?
Well, that was still on Earth, but no, you're right. The soldier was not on Earth.
Not on Earth.
So you're right.
But I'm just wondering, does that even mean anything, or is that them just, because that doesn't really make any sense? Or,
well, the supposition from at least some people, myself included, is that these are, or at least had been, sacrifices. So people who have encountered the Doctor.
No, I mean, I'm fine with that, but I mean, is there a cyber clockwork person from Victorian times that's just been sitting in a mausoleum? And that soldier's body was not eviscerated, but
well, it doesn't much matter, because I mean, it's the consciousness that gets put into the Nethersphere. Because I mean, as far as the Clockwork Man, or sorry, the Half-Faced Man, as they called him in Deep Breath was concerned, you see him impaled on that weather vane or whatever it was. His body is gone, but his consciousness is put into.
But yeah, I mean, this is neither here nor there. But is Missy just gathering up all the consciousness, even though the plan was take the conscience, upgrade the body, put it back? I don't know. And like, again, it's all throughout time and the universe, sort of. I don't know.
Let me say something I said early on in this episode. I'm happy to wait a week for some content.
Oh, I'm happy to wait too, and I'm just wondering if this is even going to be addressed, or if it's just going to be like, just
wait and see,
forget about it.
Well, I mean, I think what you're going to find is that, just like in any other Master story, when the Master has a plan, generally speaking, everything that he or she is now planning usually comes back to haunt him or her at the end. Which means that this army that Missy is building might end up, and the consciousness of the humans in this might actually be, at the end, the reason why she doesn't win this thing.
All right. Fair enough. Well, there you go. There you have it. Thank you, and I look forward to one more MHC to wrap up Series 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, without any further ado, closing out the show today, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
And this is Chris.
And until next time,
even if you die,
don't panic.